Benson Manor is a duo from Queensland with members Knight and Phil Behrens, who have been performing together for over 2 decades. They have recently released two country rock singles, Dirty Weekend and Let's Talk. And although it's only two singles, there's 2 decades in there to talk about. So I think we're going to have a lot to chat about. Hello, Chris, and hello, Phil.
Thanks, Sophie.
It's good to meet you and to talk to you about your music. And I have not directed these questions to any one of you in particular.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you're going to have to work out your own rhythm here. How did you meet through music?
Look, I'll start. I've been and watched Phil play in bands in the early 2000s, and then we were both working at the local hospital together. And this particular day in about 2009, Phil approached me in the corridor and said, "I hear you play and sing. I need someone to join me this weekend for a duo gig that I've got booked, and someone's pulled out. So how many songs do you know? And would you be interested in doing it?" So I was a little taken back because I actually hadn't performed in front of anyone, like a bit of a, I don't know, what would you call it, campfire singer, guitar player back then. And I said, "All right, let's do it." And he gave me 4 days to learn 40 songs. And we went and did the gig on the Friday night, and we had a blast. And that was around, what was that, Phil, around 2010, I think it was, from memory.
Yeah.
So something like that. So we've essentially been playing together since 2010. So 15 years at this point.
What were the 40 songs?
Look, it's funny actually, because back then it was all my circle of friends weren't huge country people, but I've been to Nashville twice at that point, and so we were doing a lot of Rob Thomas and Matchbox 20 and Green Day and all of that type of thing. And it sort of leads us into the next thing, I suppose, is when I'd written a bunch of country songs, and I've been writing songs and sending them into the TSA. 2003, I think. I'd been sort of working with that and doing that, and I'd written a bunch of songs, and I don't know, it was about 2011. I said to Phil, "Oh, I've written a couple of songs. Would you be interested?" And he's never shies away from anything. He's like full on, just play them, let me hear them. I want to hear them now. So I'm like, sweet, just righto, this is it. And he heard the first two and he goes, "That's it. We need a band. So we're going to put a country band together. Where this is what we're doing now. We're not doing this. We're doing this." So funny scenario.
So the TSA is the Tamworth Songwriters Association. And Phil,
Correct.
I'm going to ask you, what was it about Chris that made you think this guy can learn 40 songs in 4 days? Or alternatively, or maybe adjacently, I would like to be in a band with him.
Well, more that he was green, so he didn't have any bad habits.
So true.
I could play with him a bit and say, "Righty-o, let's try this. Let's do this." Yeah, it was great.
That suggests, Phil, that you'd been in bands with people who did have bad habits, and you were like,
Well, let's say I've played the circuit a bit. Yeah.
So what was your background today? Because obviously when you talked to Chris about it, he had not played live in a band before. So what was your background?
Look, a rock background. I played in a punk band, original punk band. I played drums in that for a while. That was a bit crazy. Then when Chris was sort of watching me, I was just in a cover band. Then we played a lot of Alice in Chains and Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam, all that type of stuff, having a great time. And then, like Chris said, when we did get together and he showed me this country stuff, it was pretty sort of new to me. So he started showing me different artists like Jason Aldean, Dierks Bentley, Brad Paisley, all this. And I sort of adapted to it. I liked it. This is great. And he goes, "This is along the lines where we want to go." And I said, "Yeah, we can have fun with this. Nothing's new to me. I'll give anything a crack."
Right.
Yeah.
So the first time you performed live together, obviously something worked because you kept going. You didn't stand on stage and go, "Oh, I don't like that guy anymore." So what was it that worked, do you think?
He adapted to it really good. Like he was sort of freaking out, but I freak out more than he does, and I've been playing forever. And I stand to the side before going on to perform Dry Reaching or something, and he just walks on. I'm thinking, "Yeah, right, good on you, man." And we pulled the night off and we had a ball. We were laughing, literally laughing all night. The crowd was great. And when he introduced me to his songs he was writing, I could honestly say I wanted to do this with him. I really, his personality, everything about him was just like, yeah, this guy's going to be great to work with, and he
Right.
has been.
So, Chris, why do you think? Oh, well, maybe you were nervous, but you were just hiding it.
Oh, look, yeah, I was nervous. Don't get me wrong. It's to get up on stage and you know, it's all good and well just playing around a campfire with some mates and just having a drink and all the rest of it. That's fine. But yeah, get on stage and get paid for a gig. It's it takes it to the next level. Was I nervous? Yeah, I was nervous. But once I got over that first song, I was like, this is great. The crowd's loving it. We're having a good time. And him and I, we just banter as we're going, you know. Um, I don't know. It's funny. I can remember us doing a big country gig, the Country Music Festival for Harvey Bay, and it's the first time we played in a really big arena with a lot of visitors, a 2-day event, and we were a headline act on the Saturday night. And I was like, the drummer, I wasn't sure if he was going to, you know, be up to it. He'd already performed with about 4 or 5 bands for the day, and the bass player, our bass player, pulled out last minute, and then we got this bass player, Kiwi fella, turned up and said, "I hear you need a bass player." I'm like, "Yeah, we do." And he goes, "Give us your book," and he goes, "Don't worry about me, I'll be fine." And then we rocked up on stage, and he was dry reaching on the edge of the stage, and I just walked straight up, plugged in. Right, folks, here we are. We're ready to roll. Let's do this. And then he finally gets up on stage and, you know, plugs in and mucks around, and then as soon as he hit the first note, that all went out the window. That was and funnily enough, we actually had a great night as well, and and with the bass player, we had to let it go. He was either going to follow us or not follow us.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we've had some wild gigs in the past.
Well, and Phil, so you said you were a drummer in a punk band, which would probably had a few wild gigs as well. Were drums your first instrument?
No, guitar was my first instrument, and then I started playing around with the piano, and then drums, bass, and whatever instrument I could get my hands on, really, to have a crack at. I even tried the cello once.
Well, cello and bass are related. When I was learning bass, I was given Bach's cello suites to practice on. So guitar, was that a childhood instrument?
Oh, early teens, just picked it up and started playing around. My sister-in-law had an old nylon string acoustic, and I picked it up, and basically from grade 8 music lessons on how they showed you to play chords,
Right.
I took that and run with it myself and self-taught every instrument I play.
Right, right. And Chris, for you, when did guitar enter your life? Oh, hang on, Chris, we lost your audio there for a sec. Hang on.
You still got me now?
Oh, yes, now we got you now. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, look, I was a bit of a late bloomer there for a period. I started playing guitar when I was about 17, 18. And the only reason was all my friends all played guitar, and it used to irritate me that I couldn't play anything. So
Right.
I went and bought a guitar and thought, right, I'm going to just teach myself, and just started going for it from there. And, you know, so I could join in and participate. Essentially, that was the goal of it, because they were in bands and doing their thing, all my friends. So it was yeah. Any other instrument? That's Phil. Like, I have to be honest right now, when it comes to music stuff, I can write a song and basically score it from the beginning with the acoustic, but everything else, that's when the big fella, he rocks up with everything: drums, piano, whatever it is else I need. He'll just know where it needs to fit in and do what it needs to do. I can hear the sounds, and it's not till I hear it that I go, that's what we need to keep. The other bit, scrap it. And then we sort of, I don't know, we work well like that now. It's just, I think we're like an old married couple. It just seems to work off each other quite well.
Well, it sounds like whatever instinct Phil had from the start to ask you to play with him, and I do think this can happen sometimes. You just kind of get a feeling for, I think we'll work together, and then that can carry you a long way, because if you both believe in the project, then you can get past any niggles that might arise.
Yeah, look, look. I do agree with that. We both had that common goal where we wanted to do it and wanted to do something. I think Phil's big one. He'd played and I'm just speaking on behalf of Phil right now, but he spent a lot of time, obviously doing covers and traveling up and down the east coast of Australia, and playing all over the, from Melbourne back up to Brisbane. And I think playing covers is one thing and doing that, but to actually go and write a song and then put it out there for the world to hear is sometimes it's a next level driver that you suddenly put yourself into another gear and you want to project it and then work on that as the focus. And I think that's what ended up happening with us. After he heard the songs, and he just went, we need to do this, and that's how the band sort of started. The band's members have come and gone over the last 15 years as they do. But yeah, I think him and I, because we started the way we did, we haven't separated. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little scary sometimes.
Well, it clearly works. So Phil, does that mean that the name Benson Manor got attached 15 years ago?
Well, that was, I think Chris came up with, actually. I was sort of oblivious to it.
Right.
And he turned up at my place one day. We were getting ready for practice. He goes, I've got a name, and it's Benson Manor. And I was, oh, yeah, right. Where'd you come up with that? And we had a mate that actually worked with us at the hospital. He was in the maintenance department as a plumber. And Chris was doing up a house at Howard. And it was, I think
this is the State House.
Yeah, their last name was Benson or something, Chris?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And Kusky come around and said to Chris, oh, the old Benson Manor looks good.
All right.
Chris has come to me with Benson Manor and told me the story. And I said, what a cool name. It's a catchy name. I mean, you can have names and you think, yeah, okay. But when he said Benson Manor, it hit me. I said, mate, that's it. And then he told me the story, and well, the story goes along well with it too.
Yeah. It is good to have a story. And Chris, probably you didn't have a sense that it was a band name at the time you were mentioning it. It just was something you were working on.
No, as soon as Wayne said it to me in the morning in the car, like we both worked together in the maintenance department. He'd come and pick me up for work, and as he rolled in, I'd only just had the house sort of all the brickwork, not like the 1970s brick, all rendered, so it was all neat and fresh. And anyway, he's like, "Oh, the old Benson Manor's coming along," and I'm like, at that point there, I said, "Wayne, I might use that." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Oh, I want to use it as the I think I'm going to use it as the band name. So I'm going to suggest Phil when I get to work." And he's like, "I want rights." As men do, is a bit of banter. So anyway, he sort of laid the claim to the naming of the band. But I think that sort of stuck when I told Phil. He was just like, "Yeah, that's a great name." And the story behind it was sort of cool. It was a deceased estate house that I purchased after a divorce. So it was really, for me, it was just a fresh start, if you want to call it that. And it was just an opportunity for me to start life over again. I think so. The renovation and the band sort of all chimed into that restarting of my life again.
Now, Chris, we're just losing a little volume on your audio, so I don't know if you could put it up slightly. I heard what you were saying, but it wasn't loud. Look,
Okay.
Technology, we do our best here. And anyone who's listening / watching, you're just going to have to roll with it. I've got 3 different Zooms here, and I don't even pretend anymore to try to like perfectly polished audio, because it's like, this is real life, and we like real life. So Chris, you're the songwriter, it sounds like, in the duo, and Phil, are you the arbitrator? Like, you get to say yes, no, I don't know.
Yeah, I do get to say lyrically, if I think something's not fitting or something needs to be arranged, I always pass it by Chris. And of course, if it's a good idea, we go with it. If not, we sort of sit back and we think, well, maybe there needs to be a change. And then once we get that grounding of where we're heading with the melody and everything, and I sit back then and look for drum tracks, piano tracks, things like that, and guitar tracks, bass lines, mandolin, whatever needs to be put in there. Except for pedal steel, I can't play a pedal steel.
So does that mean, because you recorded the 2 singles that have been out with Jordan Power, does that mean in the studio, Phil, you were playing most of those instruments?
Well, what we did is we took everything we had, sent it to a couple of more professionals, which polished it all for us and sent it back. And they'd never really changed anything. They just polished it up and mixed it for us and got it sounding great. But look, the next album, I'll always sit down and put piano tracks down and that. But when you go into a studio, if you've got guys there that can play the drums or play the piano and you sit, I like to work with those sort of people because they may come up with something that's a bit different that, I don't know if you call it a bit better or what you want to call it, but it could work a little better than what I've had, and I'm not arrogant when it comes to music. I'll listen to everybody and anybody that has an ear for music. I'll take it in, and because that could be just something what I'm looking for.
Yeah, right. So Chris, you mentioned that you started bringing some original songs in 2011, and from what I understand, you did think about or start recording an album around 2013. So I'm guessing that the two songs that are released were not part of that recording process.
One of them is the first one. Dirty Weekend is one of the original ones I brought to Phil back in the day. And Let's Talk, I wrote that middle of last year. Right. So yeah, the album, we actually went in to a studio and ended up butting heads with the producer in the studio, and things not working the way we wanted it to work. And so from that point, we decided we'll step away from that for the moment and just see how we're going to change it up a little bit. And this is where we've had a bit of a gap. So funnily enough, I got a job offer of a lifetime running the children's hospital here in Brisbane when it was first built and opened. And so I decided to shift from Harvey Bay and go and do that job, and sort of left the band at that point. Phil and the guys all stayed together, still doing bits and pieces and playing little gigs and doing bits and pieces. So I just sort of needed to step away from it, I think, and just get my head right. And I really hadn't played a guitar for a couple of years. Funny story here is where my mum, about 3 years ago now, passed of leukemia, and a couple of days before she passed, she grabbed me by the hand, and we had a couple of hours to ourselves without the other family members hanging around. And she said, Chris, I just need you to know this, that life is short and you need to go and do the things you love, and you need to finish your album. Promise me you will finish the album. And I was like, Mum, I didn't know what to say at the time, but I was like, Mum, I promise that the album will finish. And funnily enough, Phil and I hadn't spoken about a year and a half, I think it was. He rings me about 2 weeks later, blind, rotten drunk on margaritas, going, we need to finish the album. Got to finish the album. And I'm like, actually, I'll talk to you tomorrow because I can't talk to you now. So I rang him the next day and said, well, funnily enough, I've made a promise. And I don't know, do you want to join me and try and keep this promise? And he straight away was like, yes, this needs to happen, and we're doing it. So that's how it rekindled about 3 years ago. And this is where we started writing new music but rehashing the old stuff as well, and just trying to work on those songs that were, original and true to what we were back in the day, and try and get a good mix of both new and old, essentially.
I just want to pause for a moment, because just to acknowledge that you kind of glanced past it, but you said, I took a job running the children's hospital in Brisbane.
Well, support services, the support services, all the cleaners, kitchen staff, wardies, theatre assistants, etc.
But still, that's no wonder you did not have time for a band, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, look, I did try in Brisbane for a little bit. I had a couple of session musician country artists that had come across from Nashville that were looking for a singer. And I went and played with them for a little bit, and the schedule they were trying to set for me, doing 4 nights a week, I couldn't do it. It was too full on with the job that I had, because it was full on. And then obviously the scheduling of the music and running around the countryside, that was the other problem.
Right. Yeah. I can totally understand why those things did not gel. So what's the story behind Let's Talk, which is your latest single?
Yeah, so Let's Talk. Phil and I, we often sit on the phone, because I'm in Brisbane still, and Phil's in Harvey Bay, and we often sit on the phone at 8 o'clock at night and just shoot the breeze and talk rubbish as we normally do. And this night, we're both from small country towns. So Phil's from Dalby, I'm from Gayndah, which is 4 hours northwest of Brisbane, Orange, capital of Queensland. And so we were just talking this night about friends that had committed suicide, essentially. And I don't know, we're just talking through, the things that have changed now, like with all the different support services that are out there to get help and so forth. But I think the fundamental thing for me was, if I had known as a mate, or I had picked up on the social cues, I probably would have stepped in and done more, if that makes sense. And after sitting there and having that conversation with Phil, I got off the phone and I literally sat on the lounge and wrote the lyrics in about 40 minutes, and then went back, I think, that night and sent them to him and said, I've just written a song. It's called Let's Talk. Have a read of the lyrics. And he's like, my God, we need to do something with that song. And yeah, that just come about very quickly, essentially. Not my normal writing process.
Right. So Phil, when you were sent the lyrics, did you then start to put the music together for it? Could you hear it pretty much straight away?
Well, look, yeah, no. You've got all types of things when you start to write the music. There's so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
And melody is a big one. You've got to capture that right melody. Sometimes you might write something, listen to it, scrap the whole thing, start again.
Right.
It can be an easy process.
I think the key
depends on I think it depends on the emotion of the song. You've got to get that emotion across with the music. And with Chris's emotion in the song, you don't sort of want a dreary sort of emotion in the music. You want to sort of uplift it a bit, bring it to life.
We wanted to have a positive spin on it, is what we wanted after we sat down and started looking at the music, to give it that, like Phil said, uplift and trying to encourage people. You didn't want it to be a drowning, sad song. It needed to highlight the issues, but really emphasize
that life's too short.
And you should reach out to your mates and get help.
Yeah. So at what stage did you feel like it was coming together? And given your different locations, what's that process like for you to work on a song together? Is it phone? Is it Zoom? Is it that you occasionally can get together in person and do it?
Everything, Zoom, phone. Chris comes up, I go down to Brisbane. And like I was saying before, once we get the basic sort of melody and everything that we need, that's when other musicians, I'll take help from other musicians to say, hey Phil, or hey Phil. Yeah. And that's where that all comes in. I mean, I like sitting down and getting the basses all done, like basically your demo, I guess you want to call it, and then work from there.
Right.
And try and find something that's new,
Yeah. So you decided to make a music video for this one, which is a not inconsiderable process. It's an investment in all sorts of ways. So why did you decide a video was right for this? And then how did you go about choosing who to make it?
I think Chris came to me and he was talking about a video for another song at the stage. And then when this one came up, and I turned to him, I said, this is going to be a big song. For some reason, I've got a feeling it's like a nail's been hit on the head. It's going to be a big song. And then he goes, well, why don't we do a film clip for this? And I said, good call. So he went home and started writing a script up on basically the lyrics, and presented me with the script, and it just went from there. We got a great manager, which put us onto a great cinematographer, and away it went.
So Chris, had you written a script for a video before? Oh, I think we've lost him.
No.
Oh, I think
yeah. Just I think it's just have a go and see where it lands. I'm pretty creative, and I think when we sat down and sort of sketched out what I thought it would be, and then Perrin, our marketing guys, sat with us and went, you know what, I do see what you're trying to achieve with the video. And he goes, I've got the person to do it. He goes, let me make some calls. And then lo and behold, we get a phone call from Duncan. I hear you guys need someone to come and do a video. And at this point, you know, it's funny. We've been in the industry playing a long time, but there's a lot of people we just didn't know. And Duncan's sensational. Like, I have to say, like, as soon as he read the script, he's like, I can picture this whole thing. And then Phil and I, we decided he'd come down to Brisbane. We did a sort of scouting exercise, so we went and scouted some locations. And I don't know, I'm not one to shy away from approaching people and asking questions and so forth. So there was a house for sale, so I went and approached the owners of the house, and it's this beautiful ranch that's in the film clip. And they I explained to them what it was all about, and they just said, the house is yours, come and do what you want. You know, we even rocked up, and it's also a farm stay, and there was people from the farm stay coming in and out of shots and stuff as we were going. So we had to sort of navigate that and work through that. But yeah, the final piece of the product, you know, that come out, I'm so proud of what we've done as a team and what we produced. It was just it's an amazing experience. And funnily enough, us singing wasn't meant to be in there because we were trying to really sell the story. But Perrin and Duncan had different ideas. So they'd made the decision, unbeknownst to us, we didn't know. Right. We just had to do, you know, that obviously the singing shots and so forth, and do a few takes there early in the morning. And it was 1 degree, and like, I don't know, 6:30 in the morning, we're out the front of that house singing with the major traffic going past, going to work. So lots of beeping and waving and stuff. So it was an interesting challenge, because this is the first time Phil and I had ever done a music video and had to actually partake in it. I was really pushing to try and sell the story more. But when Duncan sort of sat back and said, this is what I think we should be doing, and then Phil and I talked about it, and we sort of understood that to see us and us delivering that message was only going to strengthen the message of the film clip. I think's how it come about.
Yeah. Well, and the Duncan you're all referring to is Duncan Toombs, who has won Golden Guitars for his music and for his music videos.
Yes.
So I do think this is the sort of song Duncan would really relate to and endorse. So if he has ideas for how to present it, you would be able to trust them, and so it has proved with the video.
Oh, 100%. And then we just let him go on the day, because it sort of started, the script started one way, and then essentially after we did some shooting, he's like, boys, come here. I want to talk to you about something. And I'm like, okay, what are you thinking? And he's like, I just think we should be probably doing this, and we're going to mix it up a little bit. And anyway, I'm like, you know what? I actually like the concept of that. So let's roll with it. So we sort of let him have some free reign. You know, the basics were followed, and then he just started morphing it into what it is. Which was great. You know, that's that level of experience and us putting trust into him knowing the process and how it all works. I'm like, again, I couldn't be more thankful to Duncan for taking us on unknowns and letting us sort of have a crack with it.
And Phil, how did you feel about being in a music video, given that it was the first time, and you know, as previously discussed, you aren't wild about being on stage necessarily or beforehand. So the video experience, what was that like?
That's why I wear sunglasses. I just hide. Oh, it's great. It's great. I had a ball of the time. Once I get over my nerves, I get into it, and it's on. It's on. anything live, it's on. I don't come down from that for hours after it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, and look, the impression I'm getting from both of you is that you're people who go for things. Actually, like Phil, you asking Chris to play live with you, which was could have been a shot in the dark, or probably literally was, in that you didn't know, but you went on instinct. Chris, you followed your instincts in responding to that and doing various things. And so I think it's actually it's fantastic to hear these sorts of stories, because quite often people will censor themselves. They'll think, oh, but what if that fails? And what if people think I'm being silly standing by a road with cars going past and we're making a video for the first time? But I'm really hearing from the two of you, it's like, well, you just want to have these experiences. You want to give it a crack and see what happens. And look what's happened. You've known each other for over 2 decades.
Oh, it's great. It's been great. Good ride. Plenty. Not getting off this phone for a while.
There's
So I
still
think
more to
that
come, Sophie. Like we've got the second album's written, but we're still looking at what we're releasing off the first album, and looking at dropping the first album in the new year. So still some work to do up to Christmas at this point. And we've been announced to do the cocktails event at Groundwater, which is great. So we're pretty pumped and excited about that. And we're going to bring our pedal steel player along to come along with us for that one, seeing how Phil won't play it for me.
Too much going on there.
Well, I have every confidence that whoever goes to see that show will have a great time, and I'm going to leave it there for now, because I have a feeling we'll be talking again, given that you have not only one album in the works but the second album already written. So I'm going to say, Chris and Phil, thank you very much for your time. It's been great to talk to you.
Thank you, Sophie.
Sophie, appreciate it. Thank you.